It's 1 a.m. It's pouring rain. You check your pockets, look through the window, and realize you are entirely locked out of your own house. In that moment of panic, you reach for your phone. You open a search engine and look for the absolute fastest, cheapest way back inside. You click the first ad you see, and a dispatcher promises a technician will be there in 15 minutes for a flat $15 fee. What you've actually reached is an unregulated, out-of-state call center designed to exploit your desperation. Hours later, an untrained subcontractor arrives in an unmarked car. Instead of skillfully picking the lock, they reach for a drill, destroy your hardware, and hand you an invoice for hundreds of dollars. When you are stuck outside in the dark, prioritizing a quote that sounds too good to be true practically guarantees you will end up with a ruined door and a drained bank account. To understand why a 5-minute, $15 override is physically impossible, you have to look at the lock itself. The sole engineered purpose of this hardware is to perfectly resist unauthorized entry. For over 2.5 millennia, metalworkers and smiths have been engaged in an intense arms race against thieves, constantly refining their craft to make bypassing a door harder and more complex. In 1861, Linus Yale Jr. invented the flat key and the modern pin tumbler mechanism, an engineering standard that established the security baseline used globally today. Today, that mechanical baseline has been wrapped in layers of advanced electronic security, from automotive transponders that communicate directly with your car's engine to encrypted smart locks on residential doors. Bypassing these modern systems requires specialized diagnostic tools, expensive programming software, and years of hands-on mechanical training. Expecting an amateur to bypass your front door for the price of a fast food meal ignores the millennia of engineering designed specifically to keep people out. This map shows the logistical reality of dispatching a technician across Myrtle Beach's sprawling zone, from Little River to Pawleys Island. Mobile units face highly variable conditions. Dense traffic, coastal rainstorms, and time of day all heavily influence how fast they can reach your driveway. Because of these factors, the realistic industry benchmark for a legitimate, localized dispatch is an arrival time of 15 to 30 minutes. Compare that to a deceptive call center, which routes your plea to a random, unverified subcontractor who might be commuting from 2 towns over with zero loyalty to the local area. A proper response requires heavy equipment. A functional mobile unit is essentially a storefront on wheels, packed with key blanks and precise cutting machines. The emergency fee sustains the logistical infrastructure and heavy machinery required to mobilize a specialized workshop to your exact location on demand. It is completely natural to want a cheap fix when you are locked out in the middle of the night, but paying a specialized premium is what protects your property. This chart shows typical emergency lockout costs. A legitimate residential service call ranges from $85 to $150, while unlocking a car costs between $75 and $140. That residential fee buys non-destructive entry, meaning a professional picks the lock without scratching your doorframe. Rekeying means altering the internal pins of your existing lock so the old keys no longer work, which is far cheaper than replacing all the hardware outright. Paying the $150 professional rate functions as an insurance policy against the massive structural repair bills common after a botched DIY attempt or a scammer's visit. In the mid-19th century, the locksmithing community debated whether to keep security weaknesses a secret. They ultimately adopted a philosophy of full disclosure, realizing that hiding flaws only benefits the criminals who already know about them. Today, that exact mindset applies to the business side of emergency services. Operational transparency is a consumer's best weapon against fraud. The single biggest red flag of a scam operation is a dispatcher who actively refuses to provide a firm price range over the phone before sending someone out. Once they arrive, fake technicians use a well-documented bully tactic. They leverage your exhaustion and desperation to multiply that vaguely promised low quote into a massive, unavoidable bill. The golden rule of the legitimate trade is simple. A true professional will always provide clear pricing visibility before a single tool touches your door. Detailed pricing visibility serves as the definitive boundary between a professional service and a predatory trap. The best way to defend yourself is to establish local accountability long before you ever lose your keys. This table shows what a vetted parent operation in Myrtle Beach actually looks like, using My Locksmith Pro as the benchmark. They carry proper licensing, hold full insurance, and dispatch actual local technicians, not remote, unvetted subcontractors driving unmarked cars. For property managers and vacation rental owners, partnering with frequent tenant turnovers, partnering with these local experts in advance is the only way to protect physical assets and keep guest downtime to an absolute minimum. When you face a lockout anywhere along the Grand Strand, you need to rely on verified, localized professionals rather than rolling the dice on a search engine ad. True security is measured by the physical strength of the lock on your door and by the integrity of the professional you trust to open it.